going on, guys? It's your boy Fang, Mobile Gaming here, coming at you talking about Honkai Star Rail today because we have Luocha coming to the game. I know I said his name right because of the live stream. Luocha, it's not Luocha. Anyway, Luocha's coming here with the Elite Pursuit banner. We're also going to have some raid ups for Pila, Quinkyu, and a Yukong, a brand new 4-star character coming to the game. So we're going to go ahead and get into this. We're going to see if you should summon from these units or not. I'm going to say it's pretty obvious what you need to do based off your account, but we're going to go ahead and get into this nonetheless. We kind of already know what some of these units do just because of the live stream, but it's nice to have the official version here to go over it officially. So let's talk about these raid up units first. We're going to wait on Yukong just because they actually have a character preview for that we're going to go over. So we're going to wait on Yukong. Talk about the first two. So we have Pila. Pila's going to be a very good 4-star raid up. She's definitely good if you do not have her on your account. Even if you want dupes for her, she is very good at reducing the enemy's defense. I already have her maxed out, so I don't really need her essentially, but very, very good unit when it comes to debuffing, so she could work for you. Quinkyu, I'm not going to write her off as a bad unit, kind of similar to Dan Hing. Again, I don't like Dan Hing, but doesn't mean it's a bad unit. For Quinkyu, you just gotta learn how to use her mechanic with the whole dice stuff. I mean, she kind of works in a specific way, so if you kind of get past that, because I haven't used her in the mid-game to end-game, I've used her in the early game, so her character's a little bit different later on, so I want to say she's kind of going to be in between for a lot of players, but I wouldn't say that she's necessarily bad, essentially, so this is probably that you're getting Pila and a brand new unit that we're getting ready to talk about. It's a pretty good 4-star raid up. So let's go ahead and look at Yukong's kit real fast. Alright, so we have Yukong, and again, I still like this portrait with Ten Young, looks so happy here. Alright, so, her character overview, so her traces. So, Yukong can resist 1 debuff application for 1 time. This effect can be triggered again after a certain number of turns, so when Yukong is on the field, imaginary damage dealt by all allies increases. So, this is going to be very, very good at pair it with Welt. And then you have when Roaring Bowstrings is active, this is going to be her perk. Yukong regenerates additional injury every time an ally takes action. So she's going to be able to use her ultimate a lot. So Yukong is going to be a very good character here. And then you can see the screenshot of what her phone looks like. So, alright. So her basic attack, of course, is deals imaginary damage. Her skill obtains 2 stacks of Roaring Bowstrings. When Roaring Bowstrings is active, the attack of all allies increases. And this is maxed at 2 stacks. And every time an ally's turn ends, Yukong loses 1 stack of Roaring Bowstrings. So Yukong will not lose Roaring Bowstrings on the turn she uses her skill. So essentially with this skill, you kind of have to manipulate the turn order here because she's going to lose the Roaring Bowstrings every time an ally takes action. One thing that I wish Honkai Star Rail had was like a wait command, or essentially a way for you to just skip your character's turn. Because with this, if let's say you wanted to like boost Sealy, or you want to boost your other main DPS, you're gonna have to like make sure that she acts right before that DPS essentially. Now, you can kind of counteract this with the ultimate, because you can just key in your ultimate at any time, so I guess you can kind of half use this, so it's not too bad, but I really want to try this with Ten Yun here, and even a Bronya for a 3rd character if you have Bronya on your account. Her ultimate is going to be Divining Kestrel, so if Roaring Bowstrings is active when Yukong uses her ultimate, the crit rate and crit damage of all allies will increase. At the same time, she deals imaginary damage to a single enemy. So the right way for this essentially is you use the Embottling Salvo, and then you just use your ultimate right after that, because Roaring Bowstrings will be up after you use this skill, so not too hard to figure out how she's going to rotate. Her talent, her basic attack deals additional damage and increases the toughness, reducing damage of the current attack. This effect can be triggered again after a set number of turns, so we kind of see that in action right there. Her technique. After using the technique, Yukong enters sprint mode for 20 seconds. In sprint mode, her movement speed increases as she gains 2 stacks of Roaring Bowstrings when she enters battle via attacking enemies. So, that's going to be the breakdown of Yukong. Yukong is looking like, I'm not going to lie, the fact that she's a 4-star character is crazy, because I would probably put her as a 5-star with this kind of kit. She is gonna be, honestly, even if you have Tingyun or Bronya, you might want to pick up Yukong. She is gonna be very good, specifically with that crit rate and crit damage of all allies increasing. And she looks freaking cool. So I'm gonna say using her with Tingyun and Bronya together, whoo, you guys can see some crazy numbers here. So not gonna lie, Yukong is looking pretty good. But we're gonna move on to Luocha next, the 5-star character. Alright, so you can see the little action with his, I like his cell phone too, by the way. He looks pretty cool here. So his traces, when the skill effect is triggered, 1 debuff is removed from a target ally. When an enemy with the field is attacked by an ally, all allies except the attacker will also recover a certain amount of HP. Increase the chances to resist crowd control debuffs. You can see what he needs to upgrade right there. Of course, you have the basic attack, which is imaginary damage. And then you have Prayer of the Abyss Flower, so immediately restores a certain amount of HP for the target ally, while granting Luocha 1 stack of Abyss Flower. When the HP of one ally falls to 50% or below, Luocha will immediately trigger an effect equivalent to his skill once. This effect does not consume skill points, can be triggered again after 2 turns. So, every 2 turns he'll be able to get this, I want to say this Abyssal Flower. And then every time somebody falls below 50%, specifically your DPS, usually he'll just automatically heal them. So that's how that's working. His ultimate removes 1 buff from all enemies and deals imaginary damage to all enemies and grants Luocha 1 stack of Abyssal Flower. So that's the way for him to stack it twice, I guess. His talent, when the Abyss Flower reaches 2 stacks, Luocha will consume all stacks to deploy a field against the enemy. When any enemy within the field is attacked by an ally, the attacker will immediately restore a certain amount of HP. The field's effect lasts for 2 turns. When Luocha is not down, the field will be dispelled. So essentially, the way you want to use him, from based off this, what I'm reading here, is you want him to get to 2 stacks of Abyssal Flower, so you have 1 that he already does on his skill. And then you can't do this again for 2 turns, so if you do the ultimate right after that, you're immediately getting 2 stacks. And then you'll be able to trigger the field on his talent. So that's how that's going to work, to be able to just automatically keep healing yourself. So he's going to be a really good healer. Now the technique, after you use the technique, talent will be immediately triggered at the start of the next battle. So he'll just put up the field right away. So that's the estimate Luocha. But let's go ahead and talk about the light cones, because we do have the light cones on right up here. So light cone preview here. So we're going to have Echoes of the Coffin. We can see his stats at level 80 with the light cone. So the ability with the light cone this time around is going to be increasing the wearer's attack by 24% after the wearer uses an attack. For each different enemy target the wearer hits, regenerate 3 energy. Each attack can regenerate energy up to 3 times this way. After the wearer uses their ultimate, all allies gain trail speed for 1 turn. The following effects only work for characters of the Path of the Abundant, so this only works for Natasha, Bailu, and Luocha. And then we have the 4-star rate-ups coming this time around, so we have the Genius Repose. So, increase the wearer's attack by 16% when the wearer defeats an enemy. The wearer's crit rate increases by 24%. This is going to be for your Erudition characters. Then you have a Dance, Dance, Dance. So after the wearer uses their ultimate, all allies' actions are advanced forward by 60%. So a good speed buff with their Harmony. So that's going to be good for Yukong, essentially. And then I thought there's supposed to be 3. Did I skip it? They only show 2 here. I thought there was 3. Alright, so here's the other light cone that's going to be featured on the banner. So this is going to be for every debuff the target enemy has. The damage dealt by the wearer increases by a percentage, stacking up 3 times. This effect also applies to dots. So this is going to be the other light cone that's going to be available on the banner. So, alright guys, so should you summon on this banner? First, I'm going to say that's going to be one of those situations where it's going to be a half-half here. So, specifically, the 4-star character, Yukong, is going to outshine the 5-star character in my opinion. So, because the 4-star characters are a lot easier to get, I can promise you in my past experience, every time I summon, I almost always get what's pictured on the rate up. I almost never get anything else. So, you're more likely to pull these units more than anything. So I want to say that Yukong is very, very worth it. I'm not going to say that she's I want to say that Yukong is a must summon for you if you don't have Ting Yun and Bronya. Even if you do have Ting Yun on your account, I would still say at least try to do a few summons to try to get Yukong. Because as you know, a lot of people like to use Bronya and Yukong together because Bronya is doing the advance forward. And I think she increases crit damage, I can't remember correctly, but Yukong is going to be increasing your crit rate and your crit damage. So she's going to be good paired with the damage buff with Ting Yun. Or you can even pair it with Bronya too, I'm sure. So I mean, you can do a lot of crazy combinations. So I'm going to say she is very, very worth it in my opinion. Even if you was to get her on like the first, second multi, just stop if you don't need another healer. Because for Luocha, he is a skip unless you don't have Bailu on your account. If you have Bailu on your account, he's not going to do anything better than Bailu. Bailu can heal you just fine. And Bailu does the bouncing heal stuff and the invigorate. Bailu can heal you just fine. She's very, very tanky. You do not need Luocha if you have Bailu. Now, if you want to summon for Luocha just because you kind of want an imaginary unit, or you just want him because he's his husbando, then he is a must summon for you. I get it, but he is easily a skippable character. Do you need the light cone to work with Luocha if you decide to go for him? No, you do not need the light cone. I don't know why anybody would want to have a light cone where it's going to be making... I mean, you don't really want to use your healer for damage anyway. Your healer's going to be there to just heal. You don't need them to do damage. So I'm going to say the fact that he gets an attack increase with the light cone does not matter. Now, the light cone is going to be used specifically for the speed buff. So the speed buff could be good, but again, not necessarily needed. So there's plenty of light cones in the game that can make the launcher work. You also have lots of light cone options for Yukong as well. Almost every single light cone and under her type here is going to work for her. So I'm going to say Yukong can easily be worked with any light cone in the game. So that's my thoughts on this banner. Am I going to be summoning on this game? The answer is yes and no. Only because I really want to summon for Yukong. I definitely don't need Luocha. I'm not going to go for I keep calling him Luocha. I'm probably going to go for Yukong. I'm probably going to do some summons on this banner probably towards the last like 2 or 3 days. The reason why is I want to see what they're going to do next. We're either going to get Kafka or Blade because Hoyoverse has proven that when we get leaks, they tend to do the exact opposite. We still get what they leaked, but they do it in reverse order. We were supposed to get Luocha and then Silverwolf second. They ended up doing it reverse. I think because we originally saw that we was going to get Kafka first and then Blade second, they're probably going to give us Blade after Luocha, and then they're going to give us Kafka because there was somebody that leaked that Luca, if you don't know who Luca is, Luca was the 4-star character that was pictured on as one of the 4-star characters for Kafka's banner. And I don't see why they would give us Luca, a brand new 4-star unit in the game, when we just got Yukong immediately after. So I feel like Luca's going to be on the second, or the phase 2 for patch 1.2. And they think it may be Kafka, so we'll have to wait and see. That kind of lines up with the past history with the game so far. And I know that I'm going to summon on Kafka no matter what. Blade, no matter what he does, I'm probably going to skip him, maybe. I say that now, but I may end up going back on it, guys. I'll take my words as the be-all, end-all here. But I do know 100% I'm not going for Luocha. If I get Luocha, it's going to be because I had to go deep for Yukong. But either way, I'm going to wait till the end of this banner's life cycle before I make that decision because I really want to get Kafka. I know after that, for patch 1.3, we're going to be getting, because these leaks have all been true so far, so I want to say we're supposed to be getting Fushua, in case you guys forgot what she looks like. The Diviner, whatever from the story. She's going to be a tank. I don't need another tank, so I know that I'm going to skip her. I'm going to go for Danhing IL, so I want to say Danhing IL and Kafka are the only 2 banners I already want to summon on. So aside from Yukong here, I'm going to be set to pretty much skip everything for a while. Honestly, Luocha's banner is coming at a bad time for me just because of Black Clover Mobile being on a very decent pace right now. Not to mention we have the global version coming here towards the end of July/August essentially, along with the PC version. So I'm going to be very, very busy with Black Clover Mobile anyway. Not to mention I'm going to want to do some summons, and I'd rather be spending on the global version of that game than this. But anyway, guys, those are my thoughts on this banner. If you plan on summoning for this character, let me know how your summons go. I wish you guys all luck or whatever you decide to do. Anyway, guys, I will see you guys in the next video. Take it easy.